It is Sunday, the 7th of September. I'm in front of the Unitarian Church in Montreal, and I'm in the middle of my alternative spiritual practice of protesting against Unitarian Universalist injustices, abuses, and hypocrisy. And as we can see, I've laid down a chalk slogan here that says Unitarians misuse blasphemy law to cover up pedophilia and rape, and this is an entirely truthful statement that references the fact that in June of 2012, somewhat over 2 years ago now, the Unitarian Universalist Association of Congregations hired Stikeman Elliott Barristers and Solicitors litigation lawyer, Maitre Marc-André Coulombe, to have me served with a cease and desist demand letter that, amongst other highly questionable and even ludicrous accusations, accused me of the crime of blasphemous libel for blogging about certain Unitarian Universalists who were actually guilty of such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape. The exact words of Maitre Coulombe's false accusation against me are the following. Your unfounded and vicious allegations to the effect that ministers of the association engaged in such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape are, and he went on to say, defamatory to such an extent that they constitute blasphemous libel. So he's essentially saying that I was defaming Unitarian Universalists, but not only individual Unitarian Universalists, but I was defaming the whole religion. I was defaming Unitarian Universalism, or at least the Unitarian Universalist Association of Congregations, by posting allegedly false allegations about Unitarian Universalist ministers engaging in such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape, when in fact the blog post that I had in fact posted, in one case it wasn't even about a Unitarian Universalist minister, it was about a Unitarian Universalist lay person who, to the best of my knowledge, is not and never was a Unitarian Universalist minister. And the other one that I blogged about specifically, the Reverend Mac Mitchell, was indeed a Unitarian Universalist minister, but unfortunately he was actually convicted of raping teenage Tibetan refugees who he had lured away from their family in India with promises of a better life in America, and then proceeded to repeatedly rape them in his parsonage in the Boston area of the Unitarian Universalist Association. And he was convicted. He had a rape charge brought against him when one of the teenage Tibetan refugees had had enough and decided to speak out against it. The UUA actually attempted to cover that up at the time. There's newspaper reports which make it clear that the UUA, or at least the local church, attempted to negotiate a confidentiality agreement with one or more of the young ladies who were accusing Reverend Mac Mitchell of rape. But that all fell apart when one of the members of the church, and not actually the girls themselves, brought the matter to the attention of the police. So prior to the police being aware of it, the UUA, most likely, or possibly the local church, according to this news report, attempted to have the girls sign a confidentiality agreement. So in other words, they would formally agree to shut up. That all fell apart, as I said, when one of the concerned church members reported the rapes to the police. Mac Mitchell was charged with rape, tried for rape, convicted of rape, and went to jail for rape. And that is that. So hardly blasphemous libel for telling the truth about Reverend Mac Mitchell.
Hey! You had nothing better to do, huh?
Not right now, I don't.
That's too bad.
That's too bad?
Stay away from me. Stay away from me. Don't approach.
I'll tell you something. You think
No photos.
I have
Stay
every
away
right.
from me.
You think
Stay away from me.
you think it's
Don't get me
wrong?
closer
Do
to my
you
family.
think it's wrong?
I think it's in very poor taste, sir.
What's in poor taste?
What you write on the sidewalk.
What I wrote on the sidewalk is entirely true. Unitarian.
You have proof, sir.
Yes, I do have proof. You can go.
Take it to the police. You don't need to write it here.
No.
You can take it to the police.
I am protesting against the fact that the Unitarian Universalist Association is trying to cover up and hide pedophilia and rape by accusing me of blasphemous libel.
Can you put the camera down?
No, I can't. I'm recording this. You, sir, are behaving in an incredibly ignorant manner. I suggest.
I'm behaving in an ignorant manner.
Yes, you are. You are saying that I should not be protesting against.
I think what you write on the sidewalk is in poor taste, sir.
It's in poor taste to protest against the fact that Unitarian Universalists are trying to cover up and hide pedophilia and rape by falsely accusing me of blasphemous libel? Is that in poor taste? Is that in poor taste, sir? I am exposing an extreme perversion.
All sorts of things. Every week you write something different on the sidewalk.
No. It's actually, these signs, some of them are 15 years old. They're very consistent. I suggest you read that plaque inside there that has 7 principles on it, and you start following the 4th principle, which calls for a free and responsible, keyword responsible, search for truth and meaning of what I wrote on the sidewalk. What?
You get a license, not so fucking negative.
You're telling me not to be negative. Your religious community is.
You're a neurotic.
I'm neurotic.
Obsessive compulsive, and it's so disappointing to have you still here.
Oh, it is, yeah. I'm a neurotic, obsessive compulsive. You know who's really obsessive compulsive?
I really think, though, that you should back away from the entrance.
Please
and stop
back away from the
intimidating
entrance.
people.
I'm not intimidating anyone.
You are, and it's disgusting and obscene.
It's disgusting and obscene. I'll tell you what's disgusting and obscene. What is this?
Your camera.
What?
When you approach my family with your camera, you're being intimidating.
Oh, really?
Yes. And I can take that to the police.
Well, be my guest. Take it to the police.
You can take your so-called proof to the police.
That is a police officer right over there.
Oh, good. So that's nice to know.
Yeah, standing there watching.
Good.
Perfect.
Yeah, well, I've got it all
Hey, please stay away.
I'm protesting, my friend. I'm not going anywhere.
You're appalling.
I'm appalling. Yeah, right. Tell me another story. So according to the woman, it's a police officer in the red car over there. I wonder if it's covered in red stickers. But yeah, I got a feeling, it's not a police officer. There's like 3 people in the car. I doubt very much it's a police officer. I guess just the fact that it was red made this woman. But here's this guy. He's accusing me, of being inappropriate because I'm protesting against extremely inappropriate behavior by Unitarian Universalists. How can you protest against extremely inappropriate behavior without putting down a few words that describe that behavior? So anyway, we're off to a rip-roaring start to our first protest of the church year, and we shall just see how we're doing. Yeah, I got a pretty good focus here. So yeah, we're coming back here. Unitarians misuse blasphemy law to cover up pedophilia and rape. Entirely truthful. And this guy is basically attacking me as being inappropriate and obscene and so on and so forth for putting this chalk slogan on the sidewalk. Well, unfortunately, that slogan wouldn't be there if A, Unitarian Universalist ministers and so on did not engage in such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape. B, if the UUA hadn't so incredibly foolishly accused me of the crime of blasphemous libel in an effort to cover up and hide pedophilia and rape, and so on. The UUA has had 2 years, more than 2 years, in which to address this issue. I've made it very clear to them that they have falsely accused me, and that I expect them to withdraw the false blasphemous libel charge and allegation. It's not a charge because I was never actually charged, and almost certainly won't be. No, they won't take it back. They won't apologize. They won't do anything. They'll just pretend everything's hunky-dory. And so I protest. The other guy there, Aurelian Guillory, is calling me obsessive compulsive for keeping my protest up. Well, my protest is only kept up because Unitarian Universalists are so incredibly obsessive compulsive in their, psychological denial and refusing to deal responsibly with clergy misconduct of all kinds. So that's that. We'll just continue walking back and forth here. And as usual, you know, it's like threats of police intervention. You know, the guy is saying, you know, that when I point my camera towards his family, it's intimidation. Well, I'm not talking to you, sir. I'm talking to my camera. But if you want to talk about this, we can. So anyhow, you know, getting back to what I'm telling this guy is like, I am protesting against some fairly serious issues. And all this guy can do is attack me for protesting rather than looking at the issues I'm protesting and responsibly dealing with what I'm protesting about. No, he just, you know, insists that I don't know what I'm talking about. You know, he comes up with all kinds of bogus suggestions. So anyway, you know, he's completely ignorant of the reasons that slogan are there, and refuses to actually look into what the truth actually is. You know, he'd rather just live in his little world of psychological denial of the validity of my protest here. So sure. Anyhow, we'll just continue our little protest. All right. And it's funny too, the guy's saying that my picket signs are different every week. Well, no, they're actually remarkably consistent. I've actually been meaning to make some new picket sign slogans because these ones are so old. Not that there's anything wrong with them being old, but you know, in some cases the paper's just gotten a bit too covered in dirt and even a little bit of mildew and so on. You know, they need to be updated. You know, so for this idiot to say I have a, you know, I even didn't even protest the whole summer. So it's been like at least 2 months, more like 3 months, where I haven't protested at all. And this guy saying, oh, you're here, you know, every week there's something different. Well, no, it's actually very consistent. You know, read the picket sign slogans, you know, go look at the blog. There's really nothing inconsistent with what I'm saying. So just total denial. You know, they don't want to deal with it. They don't want to admit that they have some serious problems that they haven't dealt with properly. And of course, I'm the bad guy for protesting against not only such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape, but the fact that the UUA misuses blasphemy law to try and... Hi.
Vous avez raison, vous parlez français?
Oui, je parle français, oui.
C'est la version de l'existence, vous êtes?
Oui.
Vous avez absolument raison.
Oui, j'ai raison. Eux autres, l'Église, pas l'Église, ouais, il y a plusieurs choses, mais une chose en particulier, le head office, le Vatican de cette Église-là,
Ouais.
en juin 2012, ils m'ont accusé de le crime de libelle blasphématoire.
Oh oui.
Oui, parce que...
Êtes-vous du ministère? Êtes-vous de...
Non, j'étais membre de l'Église, puis j'ai été expulsé pour avoir porté plainte contre un pasteur pour l'intolérance et la bigoterie, etc. Mais plus récemment, j'ai parlé des cas de pédophilie et de viol par les pasteurs, etc. Puis, en réponse à ça, ils m'accusent de blasphème contre l'Église.
L'Église catholique, c'est ce qui a maintenu notre régime d'esclavagisme humain
Ouais.
depuis des millénaires.
Ouais.
Les autres qui ont pris la morale.
Ouais.
Et aujourd'hui, c'est la police qui contrôle avec eux autres.
Ouais.
Et en tout cas, moi, je trouve
Effectivement, cette Église... Oui, moi aussi, mais je suis d'accord. Cette Église, elle appelle la police presque chaque fois que je suis ici. Si vous voulez, j'ai des belles discussions philosophiques avec les agents d'SPVM. Vous pouvez voir ça sur YouTube. Juste chercher Église Unitaire en anglais parce que Mais Montreal Unitarian Church, SPVM, vous allez voir des...
Aujourd'hui, que ce soit au niveau de la morale, de la religion,
Ouais.
ou de l'ordre qu'on appelle l'ordre public,
Oui.
la police,
Oui.
les deux sont corrompus.
Oh oui, oui.
N'oubliez pas, parce que moi, j'en poursuis 3 policiers.
Oui, oui.
Je demeure à Saint-Julie.
Oui.
Je poursuis 3 policiers à la ville de Saint-Julie pour des problèmes qu'ils nous ont faits.
Oui.
C'est moi qui ai été arrêté.
Est-ce que vous êtes au courant de Mouvement Action Justice? Ça, c'est un groupe qui peut appuyer. Il y a aussi COBP, Coalition opposée aux brutalités policières. Eux autres, sont un peu plus radicaux, mais...
Mais l'autre, vous appelez ça comment?
Mouvement Action Justice. Oui, vous pouvez trouver ça sur l'Internet.
Ah oui.
J'ai mis peut-être une carte parce que j'ai été... Juste donne-moi quelques instants. Entre autres choses, ils ont un programme de radio communautaire. Alors, vous pouvez parler de ça sur leur...
Moi, ça m'a fait une des journaux,
Bon, ça, c'est bon.
Oui, mais...
Bon, je trouve pas une carte, mais...
Ça va être trop long. Là.
Oui, oui. Bon, c'est la même chose ici. Mais... puis il y a toujours la déontologie, mais ces jours-ci, ils ne sont pas très efficaces. Mais je vais te donner ça.
Ils ne sont pas trop efficaces.
Oui, j'ai... ça, c'est la déontologie. OK, c'est pas grave. Je trouve pas mais cherchez sur l'Internet.
La déontologie policière, ça, non. Ça, je l'ai.
OK.
C'est parce que d'autres, oui, j'ai fait une tête, j'ai pas de nouvelles, j'ai même été à Québec.
Oui. Oui. De toute façon, je trouve pas un cadre de Mouvement Action Justice.
Je vais l'écrire aussi, puis je vais le trouver.
Mouvement Action Justice. Voilà. OK, ça c'est moi. Le numéro de téléphone est bon. Alors, parlez avec eux. Ils sont peut-être capables de t'aider un peu.
Ça, c'est le mouvement, ça, c'est vous, là.
Ça, c'est moi, oui.
Oui.
Mais parce que je suis avec eux.
Ah oui?
OK, c'est ça, oui.
Mouvement Action Justice.
Oui,
OK.
oui. Alors, j'étais sur le conseil, mais je pense que je ne suis pas cette année parce que j'ai manqué la réunion annuelle. Mais quand même, parlez avec M. Zetouni. Hadj.
Robin Edgar, c'est
Ça, c'est moi.
vous êtes journaliste.
Oui, oui. Dans ce sens.
Bon, ben, bonne chance.
OK, merci beaucoup. Oui, bonne journée. So I just got a nice approval from a guy driving by in a car, but I think he knows some background because he seemed to recognize my name on the card, and I don't believe I told him my name. So anyhow, yeah, he came up in his little minivan to tell me that I'm right, basically. Of course, I don't. I'm quite aware that I'm right, but it's always nice to have other people tell you that. And this is the thing: is most of the public actually understand that. And the only people who refuse to acknowledge that I'm right are the Unitarians who have an interest in denying the fact that I'm right. So a little bit of small talk while totally ignoring this sidewalk slogan, which says Unitarians misuse blasphemy law to cover up pedophilia and rape. Typical psychological denial of Unitarian Universalists when confronted about their own serious clergy misconduct problems, and not only clergy misconduct problems, but UUA negligence towards and complicity in clergy misconduct of all kinds. So anyhow, we're off to a pretty good start of the protest this year, and had an interesting interaction earlier with the fellow who disparaged my protest, and basically said that I'm obscene. I'm obscene for protesting against the fact that Unitarians misuse blasphemy law to cover up pedophilia and rape. Well, how do I protest against Unitarian Universalists misusing blasphemy law to cover up pedophilia and rape without using those words? It's not really possible. I unfortunately have to use those words in order to get my point across. It's amazing the amount of psychological denial, willful ignorance these people engage in. We shall just continue our little walk back and forth. Anyhow, yeah, it's actually kind of funny because recently Reverend Dr. Victoria Weinstein, who's implicated in this mess, is saying that I'm mentally ill on her Facebook page in an effort to discredit me. She's even speaking about my perceived injustices. This is a typical way of denying the validity of a person's grievances about something, is to pretend that their grievances are just perceived. In other words, there's no real validity to the injustices that they're complaining about. They're only perceived injustices. Just a complete attempt to pretend that there's no validity whatsoever to what I'm saying, when in fact the exact opposite is true. So, woman with a walker coming up. Looks like they actually, it's funny because I think in redoing the sidewalk they actually made it harder for people to access. The older sidewalk actually had a better ramp, as it were.
You had it before? I don't know. Right. Yeah. So nice to see you out.
I saw you in there.
I know.
I mean, I don't know how to do it. I know like here, I'm so
There's really no better illustration of the incredible willful ignorance and psychological denial of Unitarians than the fact that they engage in little chit-chat, small talk, while totally ignoring a protest against all manner of Unitarian Universalist clergy misconduct, including some of the worst forms of clergy section misconduct, specifically such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape, to borrow a phrase used by UUA Stikeman Elliott barristers and solicitors litigation lawyer, Maitre Marc-Andre Coulombe.
Stop using your energy on giving me hell and use it to walk up this path.
Well, that's a good one. Stop using your energy to give me hell and start using it to walk up this path. So
Yeah, she taught
I
me.
guess no matter who's giving a little bit of hell,
Otherwise, I never would
Unitarian
have said
Universalists
anything
don't like it. So, of course, she was half joking, but it's incredibly pertinent to our little situation. Unitarians keep saying, oh, haven't you got something better to do? So, well, yeah, of course there's other things I could be doing. I do better things plenty of times, but actually that's not even true, because really this is a very good thing to do. You know, protesting against clergy misconduct, clergy abuse, protesting against UUA negligence towards and complicity in clergy abuse is a pretty darn good thing to do. And that's not the only aspect of my protest. I mean, that's a major part of it, and I've put more emphasis on it since UUA falsely accused me of blasphemous libel. But no, I'm also protesting against the anti-religious intolerance and bigotry that is all too prevalent within the Unitarian Universalist religious community. You know, there's various other issues that I am addressing, and every single one of them is quite valid. So, you know, within this time slot, I think my time is reasonably well spent. Speaking of time slots and so on, I think I'll just check the camera. We got 3 minutes left here, so just about done this half-hour segment. I think the battery died in my other camera, so I'm stuck with just one. Not sure how much battery life it has. We'll continue a little protest for a while yet. But I think I'm going to shut down the camera and start a new segment after letting the sensor cool for a little bit, since nothing much is happening right now. So yeah, we're shutting it down now.